What's going on, Aces? Welcome back to the channel. I hope that you guys are enjoying your weekend. So, Will Smith said that he's seen the memes and for everybody to keep his name out y'all MF mouth. Okay. He said, y'all saw what happened to Chris Rock. He said, don't let it happen to you, too. Um, so during the performance last night in San Diego, the rapper paused his set to lightheartedly address speculation that he was one of the celebrity guests that frequented Combs's infamous parties, where recent lawsuits have claimed that Combs allegedly gave the attendees illegal substances and SA'd them. He says, quote, "The world we're in right now is really hard for y'all to discern what's real and what's true," Smith told the crowd. He says, "I've been seeing y'all memes and stuff. You've been making memes." He said, "I've seen the memes. Some of the stuff is funny, but I haven't addressed any of it publicly because I want to say this very clear. I don't have ish to do with Puffy, so y'all can stop all the memes and stop all the BS." Okay. He said, "Y'all better quit it. Y'all know he on play. He was Muhammad Ali." He continued by explaining that he's never been involved with Sean Combs' parties and has had enough on his plate to deal with. He says, "I ain't been anywhere near no blank freak off. I do enough of my own ish. Don't be putting me in other people's ish." Because the fact that he said that he got enough going on between, Jada and the red table, the entanglements, the Chris Rock of it all. Listen, okay? He said he got enough to deal with. He says, "I ain't been nowhere near that man. Ain't did none of that stupid ish. So whatever y'all hearing, if somebody say that, it's a dang on lie. I don't even like baby oil." Will Smith is a comedian. Like, first and foremost, this man is funny. He don't even like baby oil like that, y'all. Which, his alleged assistant back when he said that he saw him with Dwayne Martin, allegedly. Will, don't get me, but that's what he said. I'm not saying it. He said it on Tasha K. He didn't mention anything about baby oil, so hey. Combs is currently incarcerated at the Metropolitan Detention Center in Brooklyn, New York, after being arrested in September on charges of racketeering, ST, and transportation to engage in the oldest profession in the world. Jay-Z is the only other high-profile name to get accused in the flurry of lawsuits against Combs, as he was added to a refiled suit that asserted that he and Combs "arred" a 13-year-old girl in the year 2000. Most recently, Combs was sued by 3 John Does this week who made similar claims that they had all been given illegal substances and SA'd by Combs within the last 5 years. So there's been 3 more lawsuits. At this point, I honestly don't even know how many lawsuits there are. I don't feel like Puffy is really going to have a penny left to his name after all of this. But I can say this: I don't blame Will Smith for publicly addressing, the crowd. He's never been one to shy away from the public. He's been in the public eye since he was 18 years old. Like, that's when he said he made his first $1 million with Parents Just Don't Understand, his LP with DJ Jazzy Jeff in the 80s. So listen, he said, "I'm not new to this. I'm true to this." But I can say, that I'm glad that he addressed it head on, because I feel like a lot of the other celebrities, with the exception of Jay-Z, because he was actually named in the lawsuit, but I feel like a lot of them are kind of ducking in, the whole catch and kill, where they're trying to catch and kill the story before it, hits the airwaves. I mean, listen, we don't know what's going on with Kevin Hart. He's been trying to lay low. Kevin has a whole lot, that he's dealing with on his side as well. Allegedly, Kevin is real litigious. So, but as far as Will Smith, he just said, y'all can knock it off. Said he's not that type of bad boy. The irony, right? Because of the movie, and Diddy was the one who made the song. Anyway, he said he's not been anywhere near him, the freak offs, or anything else. I would be curious to see who was named in Cassie's lawsuit, because I feel like she's the one who, really had the tea on who was there and who wasn't. Because, unfortunately, a lot of people have been speculating Bishop T.D. Jakes, and, they were attributing that, and other people speaking out. I think a young man who came forward and mentioned him in some past alleged indiscretions that occurred. But T.D. Jakes, was at Diddy parties. I don't know if Will Smith was there. He says that he wasn't, so we have to take his word on it. Hopefully, he was not. He says he's not a fan of baby oil. He didn't say anything else, but you listen, he just said knock off the memes. So, y'all cut those out. But listen, I mean, like he said, he has a whole lot going on that he's dealing with himself. He's dealing with, his marriage to Jada. That's been, up and down. People have been in and out of that house, allegedly. With the whole entanglement situation, the Oscar situation. But one thing I can say about Will is I feel like he's very resilient, and he's very, he moves forward. He keeps it moving forward. So, he's made Bad Boys for Life 4. I like the movie. I made a recap video about it if you guys want to check that out. But I enjoyed it. I think he said that he wanted to do one last one with Martin Lawrence before he passed the torch to the guy who played his son-in-law, Reggie, and the really cute Latino, the guy who played his actual biological son. I forget his name, but he was gorgeous. He was the convict. Anyway, I feel like those two are going to pick up the legacy of Bad Boys, but he said that he thinks that him and Martin have one more movie in them. So we'll have to, check that out and see. But yeah, I mean, Will Smith is definitely going to keep moving forward. He's still out there performing. He's still doing shows. He's still the Fresh Prince, you know. He's been in this industry for decades. I mean, Will Smith is, in my opinion, a quintessential movie star. His movies in the summer were iconic, especially in the 90s with, Independence Day, and I don't know, there's too many to name, Men in Black. But he said the reason why he was even filming his movies during the summer was because he was working on and taping Fresh Prince during the other times of the year. So, I mean, Will Smith is going to stay booked and busy, okay? And then Jada is no slouch either. I mean, her debut was on A Different World. She credits Debbie Allen for giving her, her start. But Jada, I mean, between Jason's Lyric, A Low Down Dirty Shame, I mean, I could go on and on. Woo. She's done so many wonderful things throughout her career as well. So Set It Off, definitely one of my favorites. Listen, she was the only one to make it out. they asked Vivica Fox about a possible Set It Off reboot. And Vivica was like, how are we going to have a Set It Off reboot when Jada Pinkett Smith's character was the only one who made it out alive? But she said that she would love to see a Soul Food reboot, and I would as well. I would love to see that. But Jada Pinkett Smith, her career, I mean, in The Nutty Professor, I could go on and on and on. Like, she's done so many iconic works herself. Her resume is nothing to sneeze at either. So they are, in my opinion, one of Black Hollywood's power couples. I didn't know they were having so many issues in their marriage. Like, before August Alsina spoke up, and before, even Jada spoke up about how they were separated for essentially years. And they didn't even come back together until the Oscars. And she said that she was surprised that, Will got on stage and chin checked Chris Rock. Because Chris Rock there's a clip floating around social media right now about him talking about Jada and Will Smith in 2016. And I'm like, Chris, like, I don't understand why he feels the need to be so negative, especially to his peers. You know, like, it's one thing if you're a comedian to, punch up. Like comedians talk about, politicians or corrupt businessmen, the CEOs of it all right now, whatever the case may be. As a comedian, of course, your job is to critique society, but the funny ones punch up. They don't punch down and they don't punch laterally. You don't sling dirt, to your peers. In my opinion, Chris Rock and Will Smith are peers, and they're around the same age. They're, have the same, career longevity. But I'm like, Chris, like, what is going on? Why do you keep disparaging Jada Smith and Will Smith? Now, allegedly, word on the curb is that Chris tried to holler at Jada way back when, I think when she was on A Different World, or around that time period, and Jada, curved him, and that hurt his feelings. But that was 100 years ago. So I need him to go ahead. I mean, she was on A Different World. Like, that was, I know she wasn't with like the original like Whitley and Dwayne cast, but she was in the the new coming class, and I'm trying to think if that was still in the 80s, if not the early 90s. And that was like the early 90s. 1990 was 35. I mean, 2025 is going to be next month. That was 35 years ago. 1990. It feels like it was just yesterday. I mean, I was a baby, but it went by really quickly. So I need him to go ahead and let that go and stop talking so negatively about not only Will and Jada, but, Mexicans. I just made a video about that where he was doing stand-up at this billionaire's party, and he realized that he was being recorded and then got mad. Like, well, if you were actually being funny and weren't talking about, vulnerable people, marginalized people, you wouldn't have a reason to get upset. You can be funny without dogging people out. But anyway, back to Will. He just said, y'all knock it off. He's seen the memes, and he said that he has been nowhere near Puffy. He said he's not been named in any lawsuits, which is good. He said that, he's not been to any freak offs. He doesn't like baby oil. He said none of those things are true, which, again, I applaud his transparency and his openness, because I feel like a lot of other celebrities are just not, they're not being as forthcoming. And it's unfortunate, because, listen, I feel like, if you don't have anything to hide, then take the Will Smith route and just say, listen, I'm not with it. Don't put my name in it. My name is Bennett and I ain't in it. But there's a lot of people I feel like they may be, caught on tape. The federal government has all those tapes and, all those raids. And even if they didn't find the tapes or the materials the first time, Diddy's son, Christian said, I mean, he gave the feds a map. He said, y'all stupid. When y'all came, the Homeland Security the first time and, hemmed up me and my brother and sat us on the curb, that was the wrong house. These kids are not street smart at all. You can tell he was raised around money and not in Harlem with his father, around his father's people, because I have never in my life heard of somebody snitch to the feds and send them in the right direction. Anyway, listen, it tickled me. But Will Smith said, y'all knock it off with the memes. He said that, he's seen it. He's not been a part of it. So anyway, that's good news. You guys drop down in the comments. Let me know your thoughts. Please be sure to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and I will talk with you in the next one. Take care, Aces. Have a great weekend. Goodbye.